Welcome to Daily Dose Radio, a 5-minute devotional podcast studying the Psalms verse by verse. Broadcast from the ever-beautiful Sharonville, Ohio, on the sunny side of Cincinnati. Hey there, friends. Welcome back to Daily Dose Radio here in the Bible Bistro. Today we're looking at Psalm 141, and all this week, Psalm 141. We're going to divide this up into 5 sections. Each section will be a part of this prayer. This is a beautiful prayer, and you'll notice that it says a Psalm of David. We're not really sure when this would have been written by David. It could be that we can go back to the time of Absalom during that exile when David was forced to leave Jerusalem, because this psalm is about the enemy and his devices. And so that has led Thomas, one of the ancient Christian authors, to say of this that here we have the voice of the church, which is against heretics, hypocrites, and schismatics, that the church may be kept from the snare they set for her, and from the stumbling blocks of them that work iniquity. So this prayer has long been seen as a prayer that the church should pray and should engage in. So I think that this week we should just adopt this for ourselves. And we're going to notice some things about how David structures this prayer. And today we're going to begin with the first part, verses 1 and 2. Here he gives us a lovely introduction to prayer in general. So we'll see that as we read verses 1 and 2 today. So if you have your Bible, I hope you'll turn there to Psalm 141, verses 1 and 2. If you don't have your Bible, I'll be glad to read for you. Lord, I cry unto thee, make haste unto me. Give ear unto my voice when I cry unto thee. Let my prayer be set forth before thee as incense, and the lifting up of my hands as the evening sacrifice. Now here we have this beautiful introduction here, and I say it's an introduction because you notice that David doesn't make a request. He doesn't confess a sin. He doesn't confess his faith. He just says, Lord, hear my voice. So we know, number one, who this prayer is to. We have that right there in the very beginning, Lord. Then we notice that it's a prayer. I cry unto thee. Give ear unto my voice when I cry. So this is a prayer from the heart. This is a prayer from the soul. He's crying out to the Lord. And he's making the request that God would hasten to hear. So we still haven't really had a request for something specific, just that God would come and he would hear the prayer of the servant. Then he says there in verse 2, let my prayer be set forth before thee as incense. Now, he's going to use a similitude here of incense and sacrifice. These have long been an illustration of prayer for the church and for the Jewish people down through the centuries. And it even comes over into Revelation. In John's Revelation, the Revelator tells us that in verse 3 of chapter 8, another angel came and stood at the altar having a golden censer, and there was given unto him much incense, that he should offer it with the prayers of all the saints upon the golden altar which was before the throne. And the smoke of the incense which came up with the prayers of the saints ascended up before God out of the angel's hand. So this is a prayer, or a similitude, an illustration, an allegory of prayer, this idea of incense and sacrifice. As the incense smoke rises from the golden altar, as the sacrificial smoke rises from off the sacrificial altar, this is seen as prayer ascending to God. It has always been seen that way, and it continues to be seen that way. He sets his prayer in a worship setting. Let my prayer be like the incense. This incense was offered on the golden altar before the very presence of God in the holy place. So the priest goes in, he lays the incense on the fire of the altar, and it ascends before God. So this is what his prayer, he wants it to be like. And he wants the Lord to hear it as that kind of worship. So this is a good start for us. Prayer should be an act of worship for us, not just a thing where we just spit out our requests and then chew our food. Let's make it an attitude of worship. Join me again tomorrow. We'll look at verses 3 and 4 here on Daily Dose Radio. Thanks for listening to Daily Dose Radio. I'm David Smith. The music today has been performed by the Bluegrass Experiment. Thanks again for listening. I'll see you next time on Daily Dose Radio.